Taking top spot in our ultimate bloody female catfights is 2014's UFC 180 match between Jessica Eye and Leslie Smith. That evening in November, the spectators in the Arena Ciudad in Mexico City witnessed one of the most gruesome sights in MMA history, male or female. Jessica Eye defeated her opponent in a TKO in the second round in a rather unexpected way, and very bloody way. But it wasn't exactly how you'd expect it. The match was stopped by ringside doctors when Smith's ear exploded. Yes, you heard that correctly. Her ear exploded, and it's just as gross and bloody as you can imagine it to be. Smith had been draining a cauliflower ear for a month previous to the fight, but when Eye delivered a right-hand punch to the side of Smith's head, blood spurted high as the cauliflower ear burst open. Eye was reported as saying, "When I connected and saw her ear blow up, that became my main target. I was going to keep hitting it until they stopped the fight or it fell off." Despite her severed ear dangling from the side of her head, Smith was keen to continue, even screaming in Spanish that she was fine to fight. Now that's hardcore. This is perhaps one of the most controversial in MMA female fights, causing outrage and raising the question whether transgender athletes should be allowed to compete in MMA. In September 2014, at the CCCW The Undertaking event in Illinois, Fallon, who transitioned in 2006, came up against Tamika Brents. Brents was against the cage the minute the fight started and found herself in a clinch where Fox powered into her torso and face with her knees. They fell to the ground and Fox rained down with fists and elbows, with Brents managing to turn over to get some protection before the referee called the fight at 2 minutes and 17 seconds. Brents suffered an orbital bone fracture, a concussion, and soft tissue damage in the head, which required 7 surgical stitches. Brents later argued that Fox was at an unfair advantage, and the heated discussion surrounding the match still rages on. But without more research into whether transgender athletes are at an unfair advantage or not, there is simply no simple answer to this question. In April 2012, Jessica Penne and Lisa Ellis met in what has been dubbed the bloodiest fight in WMMA history. The Invicta FC event saw these two atomweight fighters battle it out to the third round when Penne clinched a TKO victory at 2 minutes and 48 seconds. These two warrior women had wrestled and grappled as blood literally poured from Ellis' nose, which Penne broke with a swift knee to the face. In an interview immediately after the fight, Victor Penne said that rather than distract her, the blood actually motivated her, and she just kept going, which is exactly what she did. She kept punching that broken, bloody nose to give her opponent a gory crimson mask. In 2011, Amanda Lavoie took a controversial win over the favorite Gutierrez at the 4th bout of XFO 39 in Chicago. Despite being the more effective striker in the first round, Gutierrez took a couple shots to the face, cutting her eye, which then began to close. Then, just 24 seconds into the second round, the doctor called stoppage and Lavoie won on a technical knockout. The killer blow was a knee to the left side of Gutierrez's head, opening a massive gash that sent a stream of blood down her body and onto the canvas. Gutierrez needed 28 stitches to close that wound, plus another 4 to the cut on her eye. Gutierrez later appealed the decision of the fight, claiming Lavoie had grabbed her by the hair, an illegal move in MMA, and held her down to deliver the knee. You can watch the fight here and decide for yourself if that was the case. In this brutal girl fight, these two strawweight up-and-comers met in December 2015 and went the full 5 rounds before Namajunas finished Van Zandt via submission. In this one-sided battle, the underdog, Namajunas, dominated and destroyed her opponent with a total of 8 takedowns and an impressive 57-10 strikes. Van Zandt had her elbow popped out twice in armbar attempts, and a nasty gash under her eye caused a bloodbath that soaked both her and Namajunas. Van Zandt admitted in a post-match interview that she was cleaning blood out of her ears for several weeks after the fight. Despite being defeated so spectacularly, the bloodied Van Zandt became the poster girl for resilience and determination, gaining the respect of fans and professionals alike for the way she refused to give up, enduring the onslaught for 22 minutes before finally succumbing to a rear-naked choke. Pittsburgh was home to the UFC Fight Night 83 and saw Californian Kelly Fazholz go 3 rounds with Alaskan Lauren Murphy. The bantamweight battle started off bloody, with Murphy breaking Fazholz's nose, and before the end of round 1, both had bloody faces. While these two were knocking chunks out of each other, the blood was being splattered on the commentator's broadcast table and even on the camera, raising its gruesome factor. Murphy went on to win via TKO with just 5 seconds left on the clock. By the end of this next fight, the losing fighter, Megan von Houten, looked like she had her hair dyed red in the ring. Von Houten's nose was busted up in the first round, painting the canvas crimson. She was patched up at the end of the round and looked good to go. In round 2, she started off well, slamming Bush to the ground. However, Bush managed to get a fist free in the grapple and pushed it into the face of Van Houten, reopening her nose and spraying blood all over the place. The referee stepped in. Van Houten's nose was so messed up that the doctor called an end to the match at 3 minutes and 22 seconds in the second round. Perhaps the most well-known fight in women's MMA history is the epic knockout of UFC bantamweight champion Ronda Rousey by former boxing champion turned MMA fighter Holly Holm. The UFC 193 bout, held in Melbourne, Australia, was one of the most anticipated female fights ever, pitting two champions against each other. Rousey boasted a run of 12 wins, only a few of which had even made it to the second round. Her previous 3 fights had a combined time of a measly 64 seconds. Rousey had never lost a fight and seemed invincible until that fateful night. Holm dominated the first round. Rousey, as always leading with the head, left herself wide open for Holm's left hand, which repeatedly connected with her in the head and face, busting Rousey's lip and opening her nose. Rousey ended round 1 looking exhausted, but she didn't have far to go. With less than a minute to go in round 2, Holmes shocked the stadium with a swift head kick, taking Rousey down and immediately pouncing on her with fists to the face before the referee called it. Holmes didn't just knock Rousey out that night, she knocked her out of the ring completely, as the defeated champion withdrew from competing after her takedown. However, she is set for a dramatic return on December 30th with a chance to regain her title as champion as she faces Amanda Nunes. At UFC Fight Night 69 in 2015, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, the defending UFC champion, pulverized Penne's face and took the win in a TKO at the 4-minute and 22-second mark of the third round in this brutal fight. The fight was rather one-sided, and the scoreboard agreed. Jędrzejczyk's lightning-fast jabs meant that Penne didn't stand a chance. In the second round, a snapping front kick from the Polish fighter connected with Penne's nose, and the blood began to pour. Jędrzejczyk swiftly followed that foot with an elbow and then a flurry of fists just to make sure that the nose was good and broken. Entering the third round, Penne was looking like Shrek's little sister, with a badly swollen and closing eye and a busted nose. She took another pummeling before the referee called time on the fight.